Hello, everyone. It's Amy, and here at the window with this beautiful weather. I worked today and it was really overcast for a while. It rained all day yesterday, like a really pretty soft rain. And it was kind of morose and overcast this morning, but now it's just the prettiest day with the blue sky. I don't know if you can see this blue sky with the little soft clouds. And I don't know, as far as days go, this is pretty beautiful in my opinion. Um, so I couldn't even touch upon everything that's going on in politics, nor do I want to. And I kind of already went over some things yesterday. And a lot of what I say is just mostly opinion with intuition. But I'll just kind of go off whatever strikes me to talk about. I was saying about timelines. Now, this is something that I don't know. I just feel like this is really something that's I've been thinking about a lot lately. How I feel like and I say the powers that be, the nefarious powers that be, that I feel flipped timelines in November 2024 with the election, and everything I say is for entertainment purposes only. I feel like they flipped timelines, and I'm starting to notice a pattern that whenever we have a really dark, miserable, morose day, like this morning started off like that, and I want to touch on that. I know this is a weird topic, whatever. I'm kind of weird, so we'll just go with it. Um, so this morning the weather was morose. The sky looked freakish. It looked ominous, and just out of nowhere, these weird, funky looking clouds that sort of merged over and hovered over the land. And I notice when that happens, I just feel it. I feel like something's off in the universe. And that happened on election day 2024. It happens whenever these sort of sneak in horrible bills where they hurt us, steal money from us, laws that basically, everything, my battery's dying everywhere. So great. Well, anyway, I better close that. Um, Point being, I've noticed a pattern that whenever they want to switch timelines, if you believe in that, this is a what if question, right? If that's a real thing, that it's in the weather, like you see it in the weather and you could feel it. There's like a heaviness and a darkness that always occurs. And it's funny because people ask psychics, like for years now, I don't know, it's been like over 7 years I've heard this question that comes up over and over again. What about the 3 days of darkness? And I always think, we've already had that. We've literally already had 3 days of darkness. It's not something that's going to happen. We've already had it. And the darkness really is just this, we kind of are in the darkness. And I've said this before, that after the 2024 election, sometimes I feel like we're in the upside down. They flipped us in the upside down timeline where everything is opposite. Good is bad, bad is good, and right is wrong, etc. And that's why, like, everything 45 does, just he thinks is great, and his people accept it, but it's actually the opposite of the way things should be. He does exact opposite of way things should be. And so anyway, it's been flipped. I feel that it's being done on purpose, and I still feel like Elon has a God simulator. I'm sorry that I feel this, but again, for entertainment purposes only, what if, not fact. But I feel like he has some sort of contraption where he can almost like pick up the algorithms of our thoughts. And he uses that. He picks up the algorithm of our manifestations and our wishes and our prayers, and he uses that. He flips it. He uses his God simulator. This is so crazy, I know, but this is just whatever, science fiction, whatever. And so my thing would be like, how do we combat that? So today I'm going to work. It was beautiful. I took Kieran for a walk. It was beautiful. And then I had to go to work. And the beautiful day all of a sudden was completely overcast with these funky looking sky web it looked like sky foam. And it was dark and morose, and it just felt awful, as I said. And I thought, here we go, another day of this. What's up in the universe? And all of a sudden my car, that's been perfectly fine except for I need to fill my tires and stuff like that. All of a sudden, my car doesn't want to run properly. And I'm like, what the hell? What is that? Why? Out of nowhere. So I take my dog to the park, car's fine. Then everything's different. The sky's different. I feel different. I feel like something's off in the universe and my car is acting strange. And that's what I was talking about the other week when it's rained every Friday, storms and rain every Friday. And then last week it was projected thunderstorms on Friday. And then they did something with some bill, like some midnight bill, right? Where they wanted their evil, dastardly plans with Mike Johnson and all that. And you wake up and it's like the timelines are different. And on Thursday last week, all of a sudden, Thursday is the day it rains. Thursday is the day it storms. And it's crazy ass storms. And then Friday is sunny. And all of a sudden, everything's off. Like things that are supposed to happen the day before, even up until Monday, things that were supposed to happen were off a day. So sometimes I wonder if, there's this thing. Have you ever seen the movie Brigadoon? And Brigadoon is where, God, what's the dancer? Is it Gene Kelly? Gene Kelly and Van Johnson go to the Scottish village, and that wakes up. It's been cursed so that every 100 years they wake up, and when they go to bed at night, they sleep for another 100 years. To them, it's just one day. He walks into this village, and he's in the magic of this one day that they've woken up for 100 years, and falls in love with this girl, and it's like that. I feel like the timelines are like that. I feel like we're under this spell in this God simulator by Elon. And I know that's crazy and I know it's not true, but it's just run with me. I'm just running ideas here. I recently came upon this concept that, again, probably not real, just thinking out loud, not real. But I've always been fascinated with time travel. And time travel books, time travel movies, time travel ideas, and how it could be possible. Now, in my opinion, for what I've seen and experienced, it's all really in the mind. But we are in the mind, and that's what the what is that, the dental, whatever, there's that word, I can't remember, but it's all up in the head. Everything that we do is in our heart and in our head. And the reality is that we are actually spirit, and that's a whole other world, an unseen world, and this reality here is the fake world. So the chance that we could be and live and experience in the head, in our mind, in our spirit, and the higher consciousness and source and all of that, the omnipresent one, that is the reality. So of course we could time travel with that, but it's not like the physical reality, which is in the ego and fleeting and turns to dust, like Brigadoon at the end of every day, it's gone, if that makes any sense. So you could never physically go back to, let's say you go back to the day, your 18th birthday. Maybe that was the best day of your life. And you're like, oh God, I want to go back there. And you find a time machine. But I don't believe that you can ever go back to time and experience it in a physical way, but you can in a mental reality. However, so it's like looking through a window on a trip, and you see the countryside passing by in a blur. And sometimes you're able to watch the countryside and it slows down in your vision and you catch the detail, and it's almost like a slow capturing of detail. You watch you focus on it. So you're able to, and I just saw 909, you focus on a cow in a field. So everything else is a blur, but for that one, as you pass by, you're looking at this cow, and the cow is isolated in your sight and in your mind and in your attention. Everything else is a blur. The train's speeding by, but you watch this cow until he fades out of sight. And I feel like time travel is like that. Every once in a while, you can catch a glimpse, a clear glimpse of time in the past or in the future, but mostly the past because it already happened. So it's in like a storage, if you will. It's made its imprint, whereas the future has not made an imprint yet. And so you're looking at the past, and once in a while, you're able to catch a glimpse. And in that moment, you are experiencing it, but in the mental, not in a physical, tactile, touch reality. So you could go back to your 18th birthday and watch it and isolate mentally through meditation or whatever devices, perhaps. But even if you, let's say you had a device like VR glasses, like a headset, and you're able to, from your mind, see, it'd have to be culled out of your mind, the memories and the images in your memory, and then they could flash that back into your brain and you could experience it. And you could even have a machine that has wind and sunlight, like the feeling of sunlight and the smell of your birthday cake and all these things, the birthday candles and the smell of cherry Pepsi and your mother's perfume and all of that in your bedroom and all that type of stuff. And then, but it's all conjured because really it's in the mind. It's from your mind and in your mind. Now, does it exist out there? So that's the other thing. Okay. It's getting weird. Welcome to my real brain. If you haven't been here yet with my Aquarius North Node brain, welcome. This is the real me right here. Okay. So, okay. Keep going before I lose it. So I've noticed something over the last few years that every once in a while I'll be somewhere and I'll go, oh, remember that? I'll have a flash of a memory. This is just like that day when I was 7 years old, and you could feel it, you could see it. It's like the same day, and you go, what if I just stepped into the timeline and all the timelines met up like a clockwork, and clockwork is based on time. So time is clockwork, and the cogs match up in that 1 second, everything's aligned. You see what I'm talking about? Like when you have a lock, when you have a safe. Remember your locker at school, or the lock you'd have on your bike, and you would turn it, click, turn it, click, turn it, click, and the lock opens up. Everything's aligned. I feel like time is like that, and you're able to match up. Sometimes you step into perfect alignment with the past and everything's matched up and the key opens. And that's where I think you could possibly have time travel, when you are able to access that opening of time, like a lock from a lock on your locker, or clockwork inside a watch or your grandfather's clock or whatnot. The question I'll always have, though, is physical time travel possible? I'm still not sure that it's possible. I still think it'll be in the mind because it's from the mind. Or is it? Is it still physically out there? When we line it up, that's the only time when I think that you could step back into it. But the other question is, so let's say you could physically go back. Let's say it's your 18th birthday. You lined up. Today is the perfect alignment. So like my birthday was a few weeks ago, right? It's a beautiful day. And I had memories of, but I didn't feel it, but I have memories. You have memories. But I felt it days before my birthday. I felt like my real energetic, numerical timeline birthday was a few days before what was on the calendar this year. And that's when it matched. Everything matched. The timelines all matched and the lock opened up. It's also when I got visitations from John and, had the messages in the sky. That was days before. So, and that's happened with his birthday too, where I've thought about John. I mean, it was like days before, but not like the day of his birthday. Time isn't just on the calendar. It's an actual energy and an imprint, and it's in an alignment, like clockwork, like watchwork. So could we access it if we had some sort of device? But I still feel like it all goes back to mental. And then I think there's plasma, there's AI, but let's face it, AI is jacked up. I don't really like AI. I think AI can be great. We could use AI for great things. But I think as it is now, it's a tool for bad people. And it's a tool that's just stupid, like making videos. Why waste resources to make stupid videos and pictures? It's just stupid, right? It's dumb. I'm so sick of AI videos and that tinny sound. That's how you always know. It's not just like the hands or looks like animation. It's that tinny, horrible sound in the voice of the AI characters. It can look so realistic, but the second I hear that sound of the voice, like a robot or something, I'm like, I'm out. And in some way, I'm relieved that I can still tell when it's AI. But AI will never get it right. And how ironic that we're so stupid that we're using AI and ruining our environment and threatening our own existence on this earth. That's not intelligent. That's not intelligence. That's real stupidity. But whatever. So anyway, that's my thoughts. What now? Here's the moral question, though: should you ever go back in time? If we ever were able to line up and make portals, if all the timelines, the clockwork matched up, and you were able to step back into certain moments of time, would you? And the problem is, you're you now. How would you go back? Would there be another? Would that still old version of you be there, or do you step into your old body as an 18-year-old or what have you? And what are the moral implications of that? Not just on the people around you or in the environment, the butterfly effect, where you could start like a nuclear war because you went back in time or all that. But what is the mental reality on you doing that and then coming back to now? Like, does that F up your brain and your psyche? And are you depressed? Do you become addicted to going back in time, and then in the future everything decays? So that's just a lot of money. So is it morally? I think that right now the best thing to do, I feel like we do spiritually, mentally, energetically, time travel through music. I've had moments where I felt like I literally time traveled in music, through books, through movies, through like old magazines or whatever. So there's a lot of these things that are time portals still around, like old Life magazines from 1967, or some old book that you get 1888 and you read it and you're just like, you could smell it, and then the words are different, the language is different, everything's different, and you actually literally time travel through the mind, energetically in the mind, which really is the best way, because you still have to keep the now with you. Our umbilical cord or spiritual cord is still in the now. We're here for a reason. But anyway, that's the thing. So back to like people, nefarious people like Elon and the God simulator that he has, which I feel he has. If we could figure out how to combat his changing of timelines, because I feel like that's something he does. So that's more of a present thing. But how do we create our own? And I think that's where we collectively stay very positive, collectively manifest and pray, and just effing believe with full force in the future and us not falling into their nefarious, evil, dastardly plans. And that has to be a whole collective together. Like the monks up in Timbuktu, praying all day, meditating all day, and saying Om, and they're all in the one source and the light, and they're all manifesting perfect harmony. And like, if we did that and all stood together and manifested together stronger than people like Elon, because we are stronger than him, we could help switch his timeline switches that put us into the upside down, and we could know when they're going to do these dastardly things, like seeing when they mess with the weather and whatever. I don't know. This is crazy. Label this sci-fi. This is all just this sci-fi. What if? Not real. Not fact. Just what if. Just some thoughts. Anyway, thanks for listening to my crazy ramblings. This is Amy signing off. Bye.